I want to know when the reckoning is coming. There should be a reckoning. Conservatives, Republicans, a very long time ago in the Biden administration, picked up on a photograph from the Associated Press. It was during one of Biden's press conferences. And it was Joe Biden had turned his note card on its side, and an Associated Press reporter got a picture of it. And if you zoomed in on the high-resolution photo, you could see that on that note card, Joe Biden had the picture of a reporter he was supposed to call on, the reporter's name and how to pronounce the name, the question the reporter was going to ask, and the response Joe Biden was expected to give. Republicans seized on that at the time. They pounced. Members of the press defended Joe Biden. They said it wasn't true. You can't believe your eyes. They were guessing the question. Remarkably, they guessed 100%. All the questions asked, they happened to guess. The reporters refused to admit they were giving questions in advance. We now know from the Wall Street Journal's comprehensive report yesterday that the White House staff began to notice Joe Biden's decline shortly after he took office in January of 2021. Halfway through that year, they were sheltering Joe Biden. They were not giving him his daily security briefing if he didn't feel up for it, if he was sluggish. And yet everyone kept coming forward, including members of the media, to protect Joe Biden and to denounce Republicans. When Republicans would put up clips of Joe Biden wandering around on a stage, it turns out that his team was having to direct him multiple times, in some cases even on note cards, of where to enter a stage and where to exit a stage, and he couldn't remember. Republicans were showing those videos, and members of the media, not the Democrats, members of the media, were saying this was all selective nonsense. These were short little videos. You could watch a 40-minute speech from Joe Biden, and clearly he was fine. Joe Biden, his team knew, was real good on a teleprompter. It was off the cuff that Joe Biden was having problems. That's why they were limiting his conversations with people, and those conversations were strictly guarded. The people meeting with Joe Biden had to stay on specific topics. They had to avoid certain areas. They had to speak slowly, and they couldn't take a long time. Teleprompter was fine. That was it. That was their only safety net for Joe Biden. Republicans pointed this out repeatedly, and it was members of the media, not just Democrats, who lied. It was generals who are sworn to protect and defend the United States of America, not Joe Biden, who lied. When will the reckoning come for these people? Scott Jennings was on CNN the other day, last night, I guess it was. You know, I don't like to play clips from that Abby Phillips show anymore, but I gotta play this clip.
I just have to ask when the accountability is going to come for every single person who sat in front of a television, who held some position of responsibility and lied their rear end off about what they were seeing behind closed doors. People came on television and said, oh, I'm with him all day, and he's really engaged, and he's doing the job, and he's running circles around us, and these videos are cheap fakes, and on and on and on. Brazen lying by people who work for our government, and they lied to us about it.
Amen. They lied, but it wasn't just them. It was the reporters.
That's what we're seeing. That's what the Biden administration, the Biden campaign is so worried about right now. But make no mistake, they are worried about this. This is a real problem. This is not some made-up fiction. The videos are oftentimes made up, but the problem is real. Because some of us, Abby, watch a 40-minute speech by Biden. We see the full context. Other people only watch a 5-second clip. And that's going to be something that's going to, I suspect, follow Biden for the rest of this campaign.
Chris Cillizza yesterday put up an apology for the way he covered Joe Biden. Chris Cillizza, you should know, was one of the reporters on CNN who mocked Republicans and shamed Republicans for suggesting there was something wrong with Joe Biden. Chris Cillizza participated as a reporter in blasting Republicans for pointing out there was something wrong. That was Brian Stelter I just played from CNN. Stelter as well is one of the voices on the media who criticized Republicans and said they were doing these selective edits of Joe Biden to suggest there was something wrong with Joe Biden. Is he going to apologize too? Because Brian, you and I both know that you participated in defending Joe Biden from Republicans. And I know your tendency is going to be to caveat and say, well, but they were selectively editing certain bits. Brian, you and I know damn well you're one of the people who helped cover up for Joe Biden using your voice in the press to say it was Republicans and others who were seeding a lie about Joe Biden. And it's not just you. You love Brian Stelter, MSNBC. You hate Fox News. You praised MSNBC. Here's this from Nicole Wallace.
There's a growing and insidious trend in right-wing media, broadcast, print, and social media. It is to take highly misleading and selectively edited videos of President Biden directly from Republican National Committee social media accounts and then use those videos to spread messages virally to cast doubt on President Biden's fitness for office. Here is this headline from the New York Post, quote, Biden appears to freeze up, has to be led off stage by Obama at Megabucks LA fundraiser. The full video posted by Biden finance chair on Twitter shows something entirely different.
It
Biden
did not.
reacting to applause and then walking off stage with former President Obama. It comes less than 1 week after the New York Post made a cover out of another piece of deceptively edited tape, calling him meanderer-in-chief due to what they claim was Biden walking away during a skydiving demonstration during the G7 summit last week. The only problem is that the full video, which emerged almost instantly, shows Biden was going over to congratulate one of the skydivers who's cropped out of the video entirely. Both the articles are based on cheap fakes, videos of real events that are intentionally manipulated to fool viewers, released on an RNC opposition research social media account with zero independent fact-checking by these so-called journalists.
This is a so-called journalist who herself just lied. Republicans saw the full video of Joe Biden and how Barack Obama let him off the stage, and she only wanted to show a short excerpt of it, the full video. In fact, people who were in the room at the time covering for Joe Biden came out afterwards and admitted there was actually a problem. Same thing with the events at the European Union when he was there with Giorgia Meloni and others. European leaders came out after the event and said there's something wrong with Joe Biden. Where's the accountability for Nicole Wallace and MSNBC? Where is the accountability for the journalists, not just the Democrats? And where is the accountability for the generals?
President Joe Biden has been portrayed by his political opponents and even some of his allies as too old to be president. I'm not asking for your political opinion here, but how does he seem to you?
Look, I'm not going to comment. I didn't comment on the former president's mental health, physical health, and I'm not going to comment on the current president's mental health or physical health. I think that's highly inappropriate for the senior officer of the United States military to do that. Mm-hmm. I would just tell you that I meet frequently with the president, and every single time I meet with him, he is just fine. How people interpret that is up to them, but I engage with him frequently and alert, sound, does his homework, reads the papers, reads all the read-ahead material, and is very, very engaging in issues of very serious matters of war and peace and life and death. So
that's General Milley. We now know that the White House sheltered the president from General Milley. He was not meeting frequently with General Milley. Where's the accountability for the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Where's the accountability for the Democrats? Where's the accountability for the reporters? Chris Cillizza has come out and apologized for it, but Chris Cillizza was one of the enforcers on CNN. A lot of these people are exposed by the Wall Street Journal reporting. They can't deny it. And now they're trying to claim some lack of responsibility for it. Or they're trying to say that they had the wool pulled over their eyes. Why should we believe them about anything then? But I do want to return to Brian Stelter in CNN, because Brian Stelter views himself as someone who is a truth teller in the press. But he has essentially become someone so in love with the press that he can't bring himself to criticize it, and has himself played a role on CNN and elsewhere of propping up the elements of propaganda around Joe Biden. Where will there be accountability, Brian, for you and for everyone else in the media? Or will you, as so often members of the media do, claim that you two were duped, you two were lied to, or you have no responsibility in the matter? Because I just think you guys in the press who say you were duped, you're wrong about this, because it wasn't that you were duped, it's that you blasted Republicans claiming that they were doing cheap fakes. Go back to Nicole Wallace. Actually, it was Republicans put up the entire clip of Joe Biden walking off stage and how Barack Obama had to put his hand on his back to lead him off stage. That was a big red flag. At the CNN debate, everyone saw Joe Biden had to help Joe Biden off the stage and down the steps. Republicans have been pointing this stuff out for 4 years, and it turns out, according to the Wall Street Journal, his own staff knew he was in decline in 2021. And it wasn't just Democrats who were propping up Joe Biden. It was members of the media. In particular, it was MSNBC. Remember, Joe Scarborough said that it was the best, sharpest Joe Biden he had ever seen. Joe's a friend of mine, but I think he should revisit that statement in light of this Wall Street Journal report. What did he know? What didn't he know? And how sheltered and how duped was he? Members of the media played a role in covering for Joe Biden. They were so threatened by the idea that Donald Trump could come back to the White House. They knew Joe Biden wasn't going anywhere. And so instead of raising the issue and building a head of steam to push Joe Biden out, they covered for him until that CNN debate. And then the whole world saw it wasn't the emperor had no clothes, it was the emperor had no brain. And they couldn't cover for him. There's not a member of the press corps outside of Chris Cillizza who now wants to revisit their prior actions and say they were sorry. Not a single member of the media who covered for Joe Biden for 4 years wants to come forward and say they were wrong. Why do you think that is? Now ask yourself another question. Why do you think it is that Americans trust the American media even less than they trust the United States Congress?